Good day, everyone. Don McGregor here again from the west coast of Canada in Vancouver. And today I'm very excited to have Therese Asplund with me from Sweden. Therese, welcome and thank you so much for helping and contributing to our series of videos for the World Photographic Cup.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you for having me.
Oh, that's good. I'm excited. If you can, we can start here, Therese, can you give us a little bit about your background and how you got into photography or what inspires you in your photography? Just a little short and condensed
Yeah,
version.
the short
Who Therese
version.
is.
Yeah, I understand. Yeah, sure. I actually have like an interview with myself when I was 6 years old that my cousin did for school, where I said that I wanted to be a photographer when I grew up. So I guess it's been with me forever or for as long as I can remember. But then sometimes when I was like finishing school and going off to university, the photography to pursue photography as a career, it didn't feel like steady work, like a mature decision, almost like saying you want to be a rock star. So I kind of thought twice about it and thought that maybe I was going to do something else. So loving photography, I ended up studying some English at university just as long as I figured out what I wanted to do with my life. But then I took a job at a camera store because, cameras and yeah, that was what I did in my spare time. So, and I was gonna do that for 1 year, but as it turned out, it became 17 years. So I became the store manager and I did that and I really loved it. And all along I had like the photography thing going on the side. Built a studio in my home and I photographed friends and families that I knew and my siblings and uh, but as the years went by, I kind of thought that maybe I would try and pursue it after all. And when I had my second child and I'd been on maternity leave for a year, it kind of gets you thinking, what am I going to do with my life? And so when I came back from that, I started the studio and went about half time in the store and half time in the studio. And pretty soon the workload was like I was working all the time. I was either in the studio or in the store, so I had to make a decision. And then I went for photography full time, and that's 20 years ago. So
Well, photography industry is blessed by having you make that decision because your work
yeah.
is amazing and it's quite diverse. I want to talk a little bit about your work. I mean, I've looked at your photographs both in competition and your website and so on. And I'm going to ask you a question. What is your inspiration? Is it, do you study other photographers? Is it a cultural thing when I look at certain, like the style of your work? Because you have a unique style.
Oh, it's funny you say that because that's something that I've had insecurities about for many years that I kind of didn't have a style, or at least that I didn't. I mean, I looked at other photographers' Instagram f feeds and they were all like cohesive and matched, and mine was like all over the place. But then again, I do hear that when you see an image of mine, you can see that it's a Therese image. So maybe I have things that are my style, but I'm always going to be very curious and eager to try new stuff. And that's why my images vary a lot. And where the inspiration comes from, I think that um, I used to say that I kind of always have my photographic glasses on. So whether I walk into a hardware store or if I watch a movie or read a book, I can always like in the hardware store, I can find like, oh, this plastic material, that would be nice to make a dress out of, and maybe do this fashion portrait. And if it's a movie, it could be just a light coming through a window that I th think is beautiful, or a character that I would like to portray. So yeah, I think that my inspiration comes from everything around me, I guess.
I once shared with a friend of mine that kept saying that I got to get my own style, I got to get my own style. And my advice to him was, you will get your own style, but just listen, watch, keep your eyes open, and your style will develop. And certainly it has with what you've done with your career in there. Let me
Yeah.
ask you another question now. The World Photographic Cup, you've done well in it. You've been representing Sweden on numerous occasions. What has that done for your career? And tell me a little bit about, how you feel about being able to represent your country in the World Photographic Cup.
Yeah, I mean, to me, it's a huge thing, and to get to represent your country and to be part of a team, I think that's the most important thing for me has been because photography, both as a business and as competition, it's pretty lonely. It's something you do on your own. And what I really like about the World Photographic Cup is that I'm part of a team. So we can all go into this together and we can share for each other and yeah, so that's what I really like. And as far as helping my career, I think that you can't get any better marketing materials than have been selected to represent your country in a big competition like this. I mean, everybody understands that that's a big thing because it's you have it in sports and in all different areas. So yeah, so that's been really good for me.
Cool. Um, let's take that competition thing a little bit further. Do you have any advice for people that are maybe never entered competition or considering it? For some people, it is very intimidating and they're afraid of failure. So,
Yeah.
what drives you to keep focused on your competition entries?
Well, to me, competitions has always been a really important thing when it comes to keep working to learn new things and to develop your style and to grow better in every part of the image making, from editing to lighting to posing to, I mean, everything. Um, but I think it's important that you do photography for the right reasons. Because I know, as you said, it could be really intimidating and things might not go your way. But if you go into a competition thinking that either I will do well or I will learn a lot, then you pretty much can't fail because it's good either way. And I think it's when you enter a competition just to have someone say that you've done well, that's when you're maybe in for getting disappointed. So I usually say that if you just want to be shared on, show your images to your mom. But if you want to really grow and develop your style and learn new things, then you can enter them into competition and get the critique that you can take to your workflow.
That's a great attitude. That's a really cool attitude. What I'd like to do now, Teresa, is I'm going to share my screen and I'd like to look at one of your images. And let me move this out of the way. All right, I'll move that out of the way. This is your image from this year. You're a finalist in illustrative portrait category. Um, if you could share with us a little bit about how this image evolved, where did your concept or your vision come from, and also need the lighting that you have used, um,
Yep.
the the technical details of maybe putting this image together.
Yeah. Well, the funny thing is, I haven't done very much fine art nude, but every year I like to challenge myself with doing something that I haven't done very often. So last summer, I think it was, I took a class, an online class in fine art nude. So this was actually my homework for the class. Um, and what I wanted to portray was I call it like a dandelion. We have a lot of dandelions where I live, and I think it's so beautiful when they I don't know what you say in English, but when they have stopped blooming and they are like all this seed ball of I don't know. Yeah, you understand. So that's what I wanted with the headpiece. And what I wanted was to like make her spine the mm, I don't know what
Yeah,
you call. You have
stem.
to help me. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And then the flower to be the headpiece. But since the dandelions, they are so like delicate and fragile, I wanted to find a pose that was like as delicate and as fragile as the actual flower. So we worked a lot around this to find something that I felt was like what I envisioned it to be. And also to emphasize the her spine. I worked with a backlight and some screens to get the shape to be emphasized. And yeah, that was pretty much
So
it.
another question that relates a little bit to your overall style of work. Do you tend to have a preference of working in natural light, or do you tend to work more commonly in electronic flash or continuous light?
I pretty much always work with flash. Even when I shoot a lot of natural light also, but then it's almost always natural light combined with flash. So I lighting is kind of that's what my passion. I like it in every form. So whether it's in the studio or it's on location or it's outdoors, I almost always have my flashes.
Now, you know well enough that in many of the categories in the World Photographic Cup, you're limited to what you can do in terms of post-production, but in some categories you can do quite a bit. So,
Yeah.
what do you use for your post-production um, of your photographs? Do you have a particular software that you really like to use, or how aggressive are you?
Yeah, I'm actually I'm very much into I always try to get my photographs to be uh, as close to what I want to do in camera as possible. But then of course I edit everything, but it's not a complicated workflow. I use Photoshop for pretty much everything. And yeah, I'm not a big working with composites and stuff like that. I'm not good enough. I think so. Maybe that's what I need to learn for next summer. But I work a lot with especially lighting to get to where I want to go in camera in the first place.
When you're making an image like the one we're looking at right here, Therese, um, how long was this session? The reason I ask that is sometimes in my own past, a session can happen in literally minutes and you've got it. And other times it's like hours. So in
Yeah.
something like this, is this something that just started and you worked on for a lengthy period of time, or did you walk in at camera room and just start putting it all together?
Well, actually, this one was this is a pop artist in Sweden, and I do her commercial images. So she was in my studio for work for a cover for a new song that she was releasing. And then when we had like done her images so she was happy, I was like, well, do you mind staying on for a little bit because I have homework that I need to be to have done. So could you model for me? So this was not a very long session because we'd already been going on for an hour and a half, I think. So, but it was a kind of since I had an something that a goal for a vision for what I wanted to do. it took some time, especially with posing, before I found the posing that felt effortless and still kind of told the story that I wanted to tell.
Relating to this image as well, when you talk about the posing end of things, is that something that um, you just tried and try this, try that, try this, try that until you felt something that was working for you? Or did you see this right from square the one that you wanted to have this dramatic contour to her?
Uh, but since I knew what I wanted to do with her spine, it all had to do with the like how she could turn and bend to get this curve shape. But then it took some figuring out to get the hand and the foot to be, because you don't want to do something that you've seen a million times before. So I tried to do something that was that I haven't seen before. And what I really liked when we started to play with having the hand a little bit lower than the feet, that's when I felt like something interesting happened. And also to get the two lines with the lower part of her leg and her arm, which was kind of a good contrast to the curve that you have of the spine, and then you have the straight lines. So yeah, I wish I could say that this was what I had in mind in first place, but but it actually was a little bit work to get to this.
Before I move on, I want to ask the people that are watching here to please hit the subscribe button on the YouTube. It helps World Photographic Cup. You all know the routine of that too. So please hit that subscribe button. Now, I want to come back to your last comment, and correct me if I'm wrong on this. What I heard you saying was that you had a, a vision, a concept, although not exactly what we see right here. You sort of worked on it a little bit, worked on it a little bit, and then, if I understood your words, you suddenly realized that's it. Is
Yeah,
that a
yeah.
way of putting it together?
Yeah, and I think that's a lot of the times that is how I work. I have kind of a vision of about what I want to do, but then I mean, when you get it exactly like you want it, it kind of it's a feeling in the pit of your stomach that just tells you that, oh my God, this is it. This is what I want.
That's exciting. Let me stop my screen share and come back to the two of us again. I only have one or two more little things I want to ask you, Therese. Um, do you have any kind of a great memory, a story of a special session or something that really inspired you to within your career that's or it's always going to be a powerful memory for you as you move through your career?
Um, hmm. Well, I guess that the most I mean important thing that has like made a difference for the way I work or how I pursue my career. I guess that it was when the first time I got to try and shoot in an actual studio with studio flashes. This was like million years ago. But I've been photographing like my whole life. And when I started working in the store had a studio in the basement, which was pretty much a warehouse. We stored things in it, so no one used it. But then I asked if I could like if I cleaned it up, if I could use it. And that was obviously that was okay. So and the first time I didn't know anything about anything. So I got like a quick 10-minute lesson from my the owner of the shop who had used the studio before. So he was like, yeah, you put this light here and this light there, and this is how it works. And then I pretty much was on my own without any education or knowing anything. But just to do that first session where you can see how you could like just move your lights a little bit and changed the character of the image completely. That just blew me away. And I just felt like I need to know everything there is to know about lighting. And I'm still learning, so it's
Always
quite a
learning.
process, but it's the yeah, it's my passion and it's what I love to do.
That's great. Well, Therese, I want to, on behalf of all our World Photographic community, I want to thank you. This has been great, a delightful thing. I myself find that every time I do one of these sort of things too, I learn something, or my buttons get pushed a little bit just by hearing about passion and enthusiasm that keeps drives me a little bit too. So again, I thank you so very, very much from all of us in the World Photographic Cup. And folks, if you would please hit that subscribe button, we'd greatly appreciate it. Therese, take care, and we look forward to our paths crossing down the road.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you.
Take care.
Take
Bye-bye.
care. Bye.